So welcome back to the show. Let's talk about what the papers are reporting this morning. And we've been joined in the studio by a former president of the Ghana Journalists Association, Mr. Afei Moni. Good morning to you. I trust all is well.
By His grace, so I hope it's well too.
Well, by grace, we are well.
Okay.
Okay. So we have the Daily Graphic newspaper. We have the Daily Guide newspaper, the Ghanaian Economy, the Economy Times, the Finder, and the New Crusading Guide. Now let's start off with the Daily Graphic. The banner headline says, Menzgold customers will get justice, AG assures at Cambridge Forum. Also, Ghana committed to climate leadership, according to Samuel Jinapo. Graphic Melcom Management Confer. Goso Krontihini found dead in forest. Whoa. A new secret tape on IGP's removal pops up. Committee to conduct in-camera hearing. Now, let's start off on this one. The Attorney General and Minister for Justice, Godfred Yeboah-Dame, has given an assurance that justice will be served to victims of the Menzgold saga. He said the efficiency of a country's justice system was tested particularly by the speed and efficiency with which cases seeking to hold high-profile members of society to account, as well as top financial crimes, were conducted. Consequently, he said, quote, "We need to punish corruption and other forms of economic crime, through a fair, honest, and efficient justice system," unquote. Mr. Bonnie, I was asking, how long will this justice be served customers of Menzgold? It's been too long, hasn't it?
Certainly, yes. The famous writer Anna Landis once said, and I quote, "The naked truth is better than a well-dressed lie." And the naked truth in this context is that the investigators and the law enforcers themselves have been criminally slow in punishing this palpable offense. Many are those who have been sentenced to premature death. Many are those who have been sentenced to lead lives of destitution because they invested all their life savings into this scheme, only for a young man to outwit or swindle them. So it's good that the Attorney General has come out to assure the nation that justice will eventually be served. We learn that the wheels of justice grind slowly. But in this instance, particular instance, the slow grinding of the wheels of justice offer little or no consolation to the number of lives which have been lost as a result of this scheme. So our appeal to the law enforcers is that please speed up investigations into this scam and let the perpetrators face justice. The law should deal surgically with all those who played a role in fleecing the investors in this scheme.
Now, let me bring another quote from him, and then we see. He says, quote, "In reality, people lost their homes, and some marriages even broke up as a result of the Menzgold saga. I am happy to state that after painstaking investigations, criminal prosecution has commenced against the perpetrators. At least, by the grace of God, justice will be served to victims of those dastardly acts," unquote. Mr. Dame said in a keynote address at the 40th Cambridge Symposium on Economic Crime at the University of Cambridge in the UK yesterday. Now, the founder of Menzgold, Nana Appiah-Mensah, still goes about carrying out his business. I mean, recently he brought a verification system where you had to pay, be verified again, and then they would even give you the date at which you'll be paid. Is it fair to the victims of this saga that the guy they see as the mastermind of the whole thing is going about and even trying to still perpetuate, in quote, what people have described as fraud on people?
And this is not to pass judgment on the mastermind of this scheme, but it's fair to describe him as impunity personified.
Okay.
And one thing about impunity is that if it's not tackled, if it's not addressed from the root, it ignites a self-propelling and re-energizing cycle, which then becomes very difficult to tackle. Because we all saw that this young guy was feeding fat and living big on people's investment. But we were all silent, and the law was impotent in dealing with him. And so he went on and then devised more schemes to rope in more people. And the more people he roped in, the more money he made, and a bigger lifestyle he lived. A naked display of impunity. So yes, we take consolation, a little consolation in the fact that now the wheels of justice will grind. But again, we need to reiterate the point that the wheels of justice this time around must grind with the speed of light in order to inject a semblance of justice into this matter.
All right, let's see how this goes. We pray that the victims do get justice indeed, but justice at the cost of the lives of some people. Like you mentioned, some people lost their lives.
You cannot put a price tag on human beings. You know?
Some marriages are gone.
Gone so forever.
When is this justice going to be served to them? I mean,
that is the question.
And you might not know, whilst the wheels grind slowly, how many more people can lose their lives as a result of this.
So apart from the investigations and prosecution and eventual punitive action against the perpetrator or perpetrators, something should be done to assist, at least to bring some relief, financial relief to those who invested their scheme, even though they were warned. And again, I think the Bank of Ghana was also slow, chronically slow in addressing this issue. They knew. No, they served a warning, but it was weak, to say the least. And they could have followed up with something more drastic to ensure that they stopped him in his tracks. But they looked on, the man also went on, and this is what we see. Premature death, a litany of them, and it's so unfortunate.
Okay. When you go to page 13 of the same paper, it says Ghana committed to climate leadership. Samuel Jinapor says the Minister for Land and Natural Resources, Samuel Abu Jinapor, has assured the global community that Ghana remains committed to providing leadership for nature-based climate action. Mr. Jinapor, who is co-chair of the Forest and Climate Leadership Partnership, stressed that the debilitating impact of the climate crisis was cross-cutting and required collective action from all countries to overcome, quote, and this is why Ghana is ready to partner with other nations, both North and South, to promote nature-based climate action, unquote, he said. Mr. Jinapor stated this at the launch of the FCLP working group on strengthening supply and demand of high integrity forest carbon credit at the Made in Africa Climate Summit in Nairobi, Kenya yesterday. It brings me to the question. Yesterday we played the documentary Forest Under Siege. I mean, Ghana is saying that it will show leadership in climate, yet back home, many of these forests that could help us get this carbon credit are being dissipated by illegal miners in a wanton level. It looks as though there is nobody who is overseeing the protection of these forests. Isn't that contrary to our talks about us leading the climate action?
We need, as a nation, especially the media community, to match the minister's words with his action. For far too long, politicians have been allowed to dabble in inflated rhetoric and empty platitudes. So this is the time to ensure that whatever he says is actualized. Look at this time of the year. Some years back, it was unthinkable that it will rain in torrents. Homes will flood. Properties will be lost. But this is what is happening. Climate change is real climate change. It's hitting hard at everybody. So we need to wake up, shape up in response to this reality. Otherwise, we'll be taken unawares and it will take us back. Already we're having challenges with our developmental issues. And this will make the challenges unsurmountable. So the media in particular, in the name of comprehensive journalism, make sure that you follow every step. Make sure that you expose the flaws in implementing whatever climate change plans we have, whether they only exist on paper or they are reflected on the ground. Let the people know and hold to account people whose job is to ensure that we stay ahead of this game. We are not caught unawares by the devastating impact of climate change.
So with our minister who says that Ghana would show this leadership, and us waking up to the reality that about 7 of our forests are under siege, under attack by illegal miners. Even yesterday I heard that one in my own hometown, the Cape 3 Point Forest Reserve is under siege. Illegal miners are in there mining. Is that not really lying to the world that we want to play a leading role when back home things are not as really portraying that we are indeed in charge?
That's the more reason why the media should use the power they wield and the influence they peddle to ensure that all the leadership failures as far as environmental protection, leadership failures which reflect in the destruction of our water bodies, the color of our water bodies, we should ensure that the perpetrators are exposed, and weak leadership in this instance is also held to account. And let me sprinkle a good dust of commendation on your station, Joy FM. I listened to the documentary, and Russell's deserves a national award or international award for his relentlessness in exposing the destruction of our forests and water bodies. That this is replicated in other media houses. This is journalism. Something using the power of the media to solve social problems. Solutions-oriented journalism, and not only parroting or echoing what politicians say.
Okay, let's move to the Daily Guide newspaper. It says AG bemoans corruption in public procurement process. Fake doctor arrested at Kath. IGP Konkonsa tape. Superintendent Asare spills beans. Minority suspend BOG protest. And our talk, enough is enough, Hajia for real. Now let's talk about the AG's tape. Now it says, Superintendent George Asare, one of the police officers at the center of an alleged plot to depose the Inspector General of Police, testified yesterday before the parliamentary committee investigating the leaked tape, explaining why he believes the recording was set up against him and COP George Alex Mensah. According to him, the former Northern Regional Chairman of the NPP, Daniel Bogri Nabu, conspired with the IGP, Dr. George Ekuffo-Dampare, to set them up because the two have excellent business relationship, with the latter awarding the former a contract for 40,000 police boot. Superintendent Asare told the ad hoc committee that he had both audio and video recordings of the former NPP Northern Regional Chairman and the IGP about their collaborations and deals, including contract. He stated that once the audio was leaked, he was invited by the National Intelligence Bureau, which he accepted. I'm sure you followed this.
Yes, with I'm following with all-absorbing attention.
Okay.
And all-consuming seriousness.
What has been the takeout for you?
The revelations so far are not only mind-boggling, not only nerve-wracking or bowel emptying, but also so wrenching and heart-rending that a reputable institution like the police service should be allowed to go down the drain. It's the revelations so far give inklings into the monumental challenges and impedimenta difficulties in reforming the police service.
Okay.
We should be very hesitant in condemning COP Alex Mensah or George Asare. Not at all. And he said that every issue has two or more sides.
Yeah.
We should also rush in condemning the IGP. The state of the Ghana police now calls for drastic measures to bring about the desired reforms. Otherwise, we'll be inviting implosion and self-destruction, and which will also spell challenges to come with disastrous consequences for the security architecture and national stability. So let me commend the chairman of the investigation committee, Lawyer Atachia, Honorable Atachia.
Okay.
Yeah, he's so far so good. He's been fair, firm, but he's brought his professional competence as a lawyer to bear on his chairmanship. And as I said, it's best repeating that we shouldn't rush in condemning people who are making their revelations. And in the long run, they will help us to mend what is broken, to fix what is rotten in such a vital institution like the Ghana Police Service.
So as you watch the committee hearing, what is your expectation of the work they're doing at the end of the day?
I'm disinclined to believe that the final report will suffer the fate as the also West Vogon by-election report.
Okay.
As a nation, we spent colossal sums of money to set up a committee headed by Professor Fiajo to take a look at our constitution to bring up with the intention of bringing about reforms. As you speak, that report is gathering dust. Never, we dare not as a nation allow the report which will come out of these investigations to suffer same. Not at all.
But that's what it looks like for you. That you could suffer the same fate.
I'm an optimist, so I'll find myself, or I would like to be on the side of optimism and not pessimism. And so let's give the benefit of the doubt that the authorities would act with urgent promptitude in addressing the monumental challenges in the Ghana Police Service.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Let's look at the Finder newspaper, and I'm still here with Mr. Phil Money, former GJ president. Well, the Finder says free Ghana card registration records low turnout. Dr. Afarijan urges NDC to return to IPAC. 4,169 pregnant women die in 5 years due to complications from pregnancy or childbirth. And Ghana to receive first technology transfer for oral cholera vaccine production. Screening of 1,470 kits reveals high refractive error eye problems, Dr. Obenyako says. And minority NDC wait on court's decision on Friday on planned protest route. All right, let's look at the pregnancy story because it is of interest to me. And the story is written by Elvis Darko. And it says Ghana has recorded 4,169 maternal mortalities in 5 years. Maternal mortality refers to death due to complications from pregnancy or childbirth. These deaths of pregnant women happened between 2018 and 2022. As of the end of 2022, institutional maternal mortality ratio decreased marginally from 111 per 100,000 live births to 102 per 100,000 live births. Data available at the Ghana Health Service shows a total number of 875 maternal deaths in 2018.
The statistics are staggering, to say the very least.
Okay.
And it should serve as a wake-up call to our health authorities and the nation as a whole. I'm inclined to believe that the health budgets, our budgets for the health sector need to improve.
Okay.
We need to inject more money into that area to save precious lives.
What is it that we're not getting right? Is it the technology, or what really is it?
I think lack of attention.
Okay.
You know, the more we pay attention, the more resources will go into that area to prevent babies from dying. And these are people who know their destinies. And it doesn't speak well of us as a nation. It's a classic example of misplacement of priorities as a nation. Certain, useless ventures will attract more investments.
But I'm told now the NHIS has made it free for pregnant women to go for antenatal. So
in theory, free, but in practice it's a different ballgame altogether.
Yeah.
Yes. So we need to match the theory with practice, so that holders of NHIS cards will access healthcare free of charge.
So is it a service providers, that's the hospitals, or the NHIS and the NHIA that is not doing the right things? That's why, even though it must be free for them, in practice it is not.
We know the challenges service providers face in retrieving their money, recouping whatever money they and the delay, inordinate delay of the NHIA in paying them, and the amounts are huge, and we know how difficult it is to come by cash these days. Yeah. So again, we need to prioritize our priorities as a nation. And one area we need to sharpen our focus is the health sector.
Another angle of the story says the midwife to women in fertility age ratio had equally been improving, moving from 1 midwife to 720 women in fertility age in 2017 to 1 midwife to 387 women in fertility age in 2021. About 79% of women giving birth in Ghana are assisted by a nurse or midwife, a trained professional who helps during pregnancy and labor. But many pregnant women in rural areas do not have access to quality healthcare services, and as a result, they do not receive the adequate prenatal care that they have to. So the focus should be on the rural area.
The focus, and Agenda 112, we need, we are in difficult times, but as I said, it's a matter of prioritizing our priorities, and Agenda 111 should be one of them to help address some of these challenges. And the provision of cheap compounds will also be prioritized.
Okay. So that's it, provision of cheap compounds. Let's talk about the minority protest that they want, the demonstration against the governor of the Bank of Ghana. Now, the minority, the protest march planned by the leadership of the NDC and other civil society organizations to the head office of the Bank of Ghana, originally scheduled for Tuesday today, September 5, 2023, has been rescheduled to Tuesday, September 12, 2023. The route for the march remained the same. A statement issued by Dr. Kesalato Forson, the minority leader, explained that a change in date is the result of the outcome of proceedings in court on Monday, 4 September 2023. What do you make of this protest?
The law should take its due course, and the minority have the right to demonstrate. About the demonstration does not frown on the Constitution. we are in a free society and the Constitution makes provision for demonstration. And they've decided to exercise their right to demonstrate. And so they should be granted to do so, but within the confines of the law. And I'm happy that the law is taking its course. So all sides should obey what the law says.
Okay.
Ours is a society governed by rules.
Yeah.
We are in a law and order dispensation. And so the law should guide whatever we do or whatever we say.
Okay. Now, page 5 of the finder says, free Ghana card registration records low turnout. The story was also in the papers yesterday. What do you make of it? It looks as though it's become our attitude. When an opportunity has been created for us to register for a certain service, we will not go. But when it's getting to the time for that exercise to elapse, then we all rush. How do we check this attitude of ours?
Yeah, attitudinally, we have a challenge as a nation in this respect. And again, it springs to mind what the media ought to do to help address this nation. And we set agendas every morning, and we should add this to our agenda setting rules, because we know how important this card is. So as a media community, in discussing issues, in choosing stories for front pages,
okay,
where they will receive added attention, these are some of the issues we should prioritize as a media system.
Right. Just a brief on the Economic Times. It says, city to remain robust, Ghanaians could enjoy favorable utility bills if forex rate inflation remains stable, according to PRC. And New Crusading Guide, it says, AG fights for Menzgold customers, assures them of justice. Ignore the hollow propaganda, Takwa MPP party office still intact. And New Ghana petitions IGP Akufo-Addo over Ken in Japan. I don't know, maybe some 30 seconds. Which other stories would you want to have a bite on?
I think Ken, I believe it's in respect of Ahmed
Swales, yes,
who was killed in the most tragic of circumstances. 4 years on, justice has not been served, and this is a blot on a reputation as a beacon of democratic accomplishment in Africa, and as a reference point as far as media practice is concerned. So it should serve as a wake-up call to authorities.
Okay.
Please, we know what the police can do. We have the men, we have the men who are trained, knowledgeable, who have got all the expertise, professionally solid, to speed up investigations into the Ahmed Swale assassination.
Okay.
Because it's an indictment
on the nation.
On the nation.
Okay.
So
thank you so much, Mr. Moni, for coming by.
You're welcome.
Mr. Raphael Moni is former president of the Ghana Journalists Association. We'll take a break. When we return, Muftau Abdullahi will be here with latest from the world of sports. Stay.